Hi guys! Uh, so I want to start off by saying that I'm so sorry because obviously I've been gone for a month and I haven't really been active. As you can see from my title, this situation of mine really impacted my mental health, but I just want to tell you guys now that I really do plan on posting twice a week, especially since I really did try to take care of myself since I wasn't here. And before I talk about my situation that I dealt with, I really want to start off by talking about the current climate. It's really crazy because I've been part of the Black Lives Matter movement since 2016. I've been going to the protests here in New York City. They usually start in Washington Square Park. I think for most of you guys, you are aware of what the movement stands for. And to put it really simply, Black people just want the same basic human rights that everyone else in America has. It is such a great privilege. I think it's really important for me, being Asian American, to really speak out about this because the Asian community, many of my own peers, don't really do that. And I think now is the time to really just fight for these people because nobody is going to care about Asian issues if you don't help other communities. It's literally not some sort of oppression competition. We just all want the same rights, and we can attain that if we just encourage and support each other. So that's really my stance on the Black Lives Matter movement. I know some of you guys do know about my parents and how they were sick with coronavirus, so I do not feel comfortable protesting out in the streets, but I do support the cause in other ways. Donated to Black Visions Collective, and it's this really awesome LGBT trans legal fund in Minneapolis. They really do fight for all Black lives, and I think that's just such a great place to donate to. So I'll leave the link down below so you guys yourself can do your research. I think it's also really important, if you're not protesting out in the street, that it's okay because it's a pandemic. Let's not get not only ourselves sick, but God forbid, our parents sick. So that's alright. Just make sure you're doing something. Okay, so on with my bullshit story. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm filming in an area where none of you guys have ever seen, and that's because my ass literally moved to a whole different apartment a month ago. There was a lot of things going on in my other apartment that I wasn't clear about. I lived with two roommates, and one of them she was extremely racist, and she was just giving me a lot of issues from the beginning. So I had no idea that she was gonna live in the apartment with her boyfriend. I was there for 3 months, and within the 3 months, her boyfriend was there every single day. From the outside, maybe that seems really cute, like, wow, they really love each other. No, it was so annoying. We're hella nocturnal. They would not sleep at all. They actually used to blast music all the time. They would watch really scary movies up until like 5 in the morning, which is so messed up because I would actually have to wake up to go to work around 5. So I had to deal with a lot of this extra things that were just not, told to me sooner. It was just such a mess. So I already knew from the first 2 weeks of me living there, I was like, wow, this is such a beautiful room, a great neighborhood, but it just wasn't cost effective. I just wasn't able to sleep at night at all. Like, beyond that, they were just extremely dirty. They were having loud sex, and it was just not cute. At a certain point, when you're dealing with this every single day and you live with somebody who just doesn't care about other people or respect other people, especially common places and how they should be clean, I started to really regret my decision. And And I was very vocal about that to my other roommate who was the leaseholder. So she tried to like mend things, and me and the other girl were still going at it. Like literally doors were slammed. We were both screaming at each other. I'm a very vocal person, so I don't like being taken advantage of. And then we fast forward 2 weeks and things were actually dialing down. My roommate who was giving me issues seemed to kind of understand that I was at my wit's end. I literally just couldn't function. I was just not sleeping well. I was getting irritated. It was just too much for me, and she kind of got the message. But then she got pregnant, so that was something else. I was honestly really kind to her during those moments. I feel like because of the pandemic and knowing that she's away from her parents and she's just this really sheltered person, I knew she must have felt trapped. So I was just trying to be really nice to her. And, you know, she's throwing up every night. And honestly, if I was just being really like vague, I think it just wasn't the right time. And I think her mom came and visited, and yeah, so things just kind of like, you know, dwindled down. Like she was pregnant, and we were in better terms because she knew I was there for her during a really vulnerable time. And then all of a sudden, the week after that, her and her boyfriend left to go somewhere, and it was the first time for 3 days. It was the first time I was alone in that apartment after like 2.5 months. After 3 days, everyone came back home, and one of my roommates, the one who was a leaseholder, noticed that there was these terrible, terrible black streaks on the bathroom floor. And that was not me. It was not my fault, but my other roommate, the one who got pregnant, she did go to the kitchen, and I remember it being there after she was in the kitchen, but I was just like, you know what, Nicole, just let it go. This is not your responsibility. Everyone in this house knows you're clean. Just hope that this person just cleans it up. That did not happen. What ended up happening was that she blamed it on me, and I wasn't aware of this until 3 days after that day. I heard my other roommate, who was a leaseholder, talk shit about how dirty I left the apartment, and she just really believed that I did that because that's what the other girl told her. And I knew at that moment, I was like, Nicole, this room is such a blessing, but it doesn't mean anything if the people you live with do not respect you. And I knew I had to go. So I got really upset and emotional when I heard my roommate talking shit about me. So then I went up to her, I actually opened my door because she didn't know I was home, and I was just like, why are you saying my name? And then she told me, oh, you're home. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't respect you saying my name. Like, why are you saying it? And then she was telling me how she was really upset and all this other bullshit that I just said. And I just kind of had it. I kind of looked at both of them, and I was just about to scream. I knew it was going to happen. So I was just like, Nicole, just go back to your room. Just let it be. So I looked at them, I gave them a really like smile, and I walked back to my room and I closed the door because I was just done. And then both of them went and knocked, and they were just apologizing profusely. The leaseholder came up to me, and she was just so apologetic, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna stay here anymore. I don't feel comfortable here. I don't feel respected. I'm the most clean one here. I don't understand why my name is the one that gets dragged. And at first she seemed really like understanding because she knew that she was in the wrong. She was the one talking shit, obviously, so she could understand this type of like discomfort I was feeling, the anger, whatever it was. And she was like, okay, I'm really sorry, I understand, but if you have to leave, then I have to keep your security deposit. Oh my fucking god. So at first I was like, you know what, Nicole, let it go because you didn't give her a heads up at all. even though I was vocal since the very first week I've been there, I should have given her a heads up, but I didn't. So I was like, okay, maybe I deserve this. So I went to bed. I was just like thinking about it. And then the more I thought about it, the more angrier I got because I found out from the previous tenant that she just has this habit of keeping security deposits. And long story short, I don't really want to talk about it too much, that this leaseholder roommate of mine was just not a good person. She's just very greedy with money. And unfortunately, I was just so blindsided. I realized that now money really changes people. And even though she did seem at first accommodating to my, needs, and she was kind at the beginning, this whole situation just kind of showed her true colors. The next day, I was doing a lot of research. I was trying to see my rights as a sublease holder, and it was great because I looked online and I realized that Governor Cuomo passed this law in New York City in March that if any tenants owed any money, that they can just use their security deposit to pay it off. So I owed a month's rent because my mom was sick and I was just not at a good place in my mind. And my plan was to give the roommate, the money that I owed plus the other month's rent because that would be due the following month. But I knew then, I was like, oh wow, these laws actually protect me. This means that I can leave here and I don't have to owe anything because my security deposit fulfills my debt. I looked at my phone like 5 minutes after, looking at these laws, and I realized that she had texted me and wanted to talk about the money. I went up to her really confidently and I just told her what it is. I was just like, I know you are planning on keeping my security deposit and you're trying to ask for money that I owe. But then I just told her, the new information that I found about Governor Cuomo, and she got so angry. Like, I've never seen her angry before, but oh my God. She started screaming at me. She was like, I don't understand why you're saying this. I've been so nice to you. I feel like you're disrespecting me. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And then she was like basically telling me like I have to give her another month's rent and that I can't just leave. And then I told her how that's illegal and that's extortion and how she's just trying to take advantage of the situation and how I'm not some vulnerable person living in this apartment. I actually have family who lives 20 blocks away. I have people who could help me. I just didn't understand where this anger was coming from because she made it seem as if like what I was saying was illegal when it wasn't. And I think me saying to her that I'm not a vulnerable person just like flipped a switch at her because she started walking back to her room. And then I was just telling her like, I just don't understand why she's getting so angry. And all of a sudden she charges at me from her room and then pushes me. Like she puts her like chest all over my, my body, and her face is literally like about to touch mine. And then she's just like, what are you gonna do? Like she really wanted to intimidate me. I was not having any of that. I pushed her back and I was just like, don't do that. Don't go near me like that. And then she pushed me again and I started screaming at her to get the fuck out of my face because that's not cool. And I went to my room. I was kind of having like a mental breakdown because I was just like, that's not right. I live in this apartment. I don't feel safe in this apartment. She literally tried to like initiate something. Like, I don't like that at all. I don't like getting threats from anybody. I don't think anybody should tolerate that kind of behavior. So then I called 311 for legal counseling, and they basically told me that I was in the right, I did nothing wrong, and that I should call the police because at that point, I'm sorry, I failed to mention this, but my roommate was also threatening to take me to court. And when she said that, I said, take me to court because I did nothing wrong. And that also added to why she was so frustrated at me because she wasn't expecting me to be, okay with that. This legal counseling guy, he was such a sweetheart. He honestly gave me the confidence I needed at that moment because I felt so helpless. And he was just like, that's really funny because you should take her to court and you have to call the police because you need documentation that you were one touched, and you should never be touched as a tenant. And this is like what's really crazy to me is that the laws in America are so problematic. Honestly, if anyone even like touches you, you can actually file for domestic violence. But obviously, it was much more than just a poke. I was actually like pushed, and she really like tried me. She really wanted to wait for me to hit her first so we can fight, and I was just not having that because I'm 23. That's so stupid. I'm an adult woman. You can't be doing that. You just can't. So, bless this man. He gave me the courage that I needed. I hung up the phone and I eventually called the police after a few hours because I was just really going through it. And then the police came. It actually took them a long time. It took them like 4 hours to get to me. And I almost was just like, maybe it's just not the time, you know? But they came and they're really great. They were two people of color. They kind of understood the situation right away. They wanted to know if I was safe, if she used any weapons, and she didn't. I just, needed documentation of like what she was going to do to me. And it was really crazy because the one of the police officers actually told me that it was the 10th call that day regarding about my tenant pushing me. Apparently, like this is happening so much because people are just unemployed and stressed out, and these tenants just think it's okay to do this, and it's not. So they were fully in support of me. I have the documentation in my room, and I was just happy because I was just like, you know what? She wants to play this with me. I won. So yeah, so they visited. I went back to my room, and that night it was fine. But then the next 3 days, it was just terrible again. So I found a new place literally that day, and I'm really blessed and very lucky. I'll show you guys a room tour very soon. But at that moment, before I could just move out, because I couldn't just move out the next day, I obviously still had to stay in my room, and she just made it extremely unbearable for me. She used to take 3-hour baths every day, and I just kind of dealt with it. But literally, she started taking 6-hour baths. She wouldn't leave the bathroom. She made it like impossible for me to use the restroom. When I would hear her talking about me to my other roommate, she would make really loud noises, like literally bang things and start clapping her hands because she really wanted to scare me. And I'm really not the person because I'm also really scary and crazy. So I knew I just had to be smart because she probably just wanted me to be angry. She wanted me to give her something that she can use above me. So honestly, I still think I'm still trying to get over, sorry, there's a fly. I still think I'm trying to get over that 3-day period where I literally felt like a prisoner in that apartment. But after those 3 days, I moved out and I was in a much more better place. Granted, my room is a bit smaller and there is a lot more noise here, but I still feel a lot more happier, which is like most important. I'm paying like a lot less, and especially during this pandemic, that's really such a blessing because I really should be saving my money. And yeah, so my life has gotten a lot better since then. I am really blessed because I am employed. My job made it very clear to me back in March. They would be closed for some time because of the pandemic, but they really want me to start working in May. So I've been working since May, and I've just been trying to adjust this huge change in my life because that honestly was such a scary experience. And it does suck because I am a strong person and I always feel like I can handle literally like anything that comes my way. I just feel like there are just some times where you just can't be strong all the time. Like it's fine to be scared, and I was so fucking scared because she was a lot more mentally unstable than I. At the end of the day, when I eventually told my parents what was happening and I involved my family, they're all really proud of me because I did all the steps I should take. So if any of you guys happen to be in a very similar position, if you happen to live in New York City, please use 311 for legal counseling. That's extremely important. You have a lot of rights, and a lot of rights and laws have changed since this pandemic, and they're there to support us, tenants who are unrightly being extorted for more money and harassed, and just like what happened to me. It's important for everyone to just do their research, continue to fight for yourself, especially if you know that you didn't do anything wrong. People like my roommate, they just don't care. They don't care about you, and they just enjoy seeing you kind of suffer because you're in a very vulnerable situation. So that's what happened to me and why I wasn't able to go on YouTube and post frequently. And I think it's really okay for anybody who makes YouTube videos to take the mental health break that they need to recover, because you need that for yourself. It's okay to be selfish and just take care of yourself first. But now I feel like my mental state is a lot more stable. I feel a lot more happier. And I hope you guys are able to take care and stay safe. It is such a crazy time, so please take care of your mental health. That's super important. I can't wait to show you guys more videos and create more content. And if you made it through the end of this video, I love you so much. So much. Yeah, so see you guys next week.